Okay, guys, hopefully this will be my last one. I wanted to try and keep these a little bit shorter. I think where I'm going to start with this particular video is just to go ahead and read over the dream and the interpretation again, just so that we remember everything, because I'm going to be picking apart certain things and reading to you what I found in regards to that. This is the dream where I was in a store with my husband, and let me see if I can find it. I think this is the one. Okay. Let me find where my dream part is first. Excuse me, guys. Okay, so the dream was this. I was at the store, and my husband Lee was with me, and we were looking at things and came up to some necklaces. And I was just looking them over when he picked one up that had some type of nautical charm on it. I cannot recall exactly what it was, like a ship's wheel or maybe an anchor. Anyway, he asked if I wanted it, and I said, no, that's okay. And he said, oh yes, let me put it on you. So he came behind me to put the necklace on, but it was not a necklace. It was like he was indenting something on my skin, my left shoulder. It was not a tattoo, no ink, just pressing something there that left an indentation of something. I don't know what it was, as I could not see it, but somehow I did see it because I knew it was an indentation. So what I'm talking about is he was pressing something on my skin, like, just pressing it on my skin. And, if it was pressed long enough or hard enough, it would leave some type of an indentation on my skin. And so I knew I knew he was doing an indentation. So just then the sales lady came up to us and said, what are you doing? And it seemed as if we were in trouble of some kind. And my husband went with her to go and speak with her. And so I was left there and wondered, what do I do now? I decided I better go pay for the necklace. So I approached the counter and told the sales lady I wanted to pay for this necklace. And somehow the other sales lady at the end of the counter had my information. And I know she had my information because she was pointing to something and tapping the counter. So my information must have been right in front of her, and she was, just kind of tapping on the desk, identifying that it was right in front of her. So then a third lady came to talk with me, and she said something along these lines, that we had 8 of these, all 7 were gone and not paid for, or something along those lines, but all 7 were gone, and this was the 8th one. And I could not remember clearly what she was saying, but I knew that she was saying that this necklace was the 8th one, and that the other 7 were already gone. So just then my husband returned, and he stood to my right. We, in front of the first lady that I spoke of, where I was coming to pay for the necklace, but we were giving her money, but it wasn't for the necklace. It was a deposit. And so she asked my name, and my husband asked if I had a deposit slip for him. And so I was going into my pocketbook to get out a deposit slip, and I was looking at the amount of money that the lady in front of me was identifying on the deposit slip. For me, she identified the number of 2320. And for my husband, she identified the number of 2330. And I remember thinking, looking at that in my dream now, I remember thinking, wow, I made as much as Lee? Because Lee makes a whole lot more money than I do. And then I remembered, no, he does make a whole lot more money than I do. But he pays out insurances, retirement, and other things come out of his check first. And so if we were doing a deposit, the deposit would have been what was left over, you know. And so I basically had submitted this to my friend Lou, who gave me the interpretation of this dream. And I just told her I didn't know the significance of the numbers, the money, the indentation, or what, but I knew that this dream was important. And so she sent me back the interpretation that we read in the other video, but I'm going to read it again because I think it's important that we go into detail on some of these things, because I know many of you all had some questions, and even myself, I did some digging on my own as well, because certain things kept popping up in my mind. And so Lou says that the store is the world, and Lee, of course, is the Lord. And you're looking at things, but you want nothing of the world, even though he offers it to you. But when he wants to bestow a gift upon you, and you cannot refuse, but it is not the necklace, which, by the way, represents the sea, deep calls unto deep. It is the seal of God that he is marking you with, the indentation. And so I think that was one area that there was quite a few questions in regards to the dream. So we're going to want to talk about that for a little bit, because I did some researching on that. When questioned about what you were doing, Lee left to sort some things out while you wondered what you needed to do now. And so she was posing the question, is this our time when we will feel like the Lord has left us? And I kind of brought up to remembrance for you guys. Remember back when I was saying that I went through that area of time where, I really felt like, that the Lord had left. And I was just like, I didn't even want to live anymore. It was that kind of a despair feeling. But now we know the Lord will never leave nor forsake us. But it was the feeling of that that we were all experiencing. There's many of us experiencing it at that time. And so anyway, she's asking, I wonder if this is going to be that time. The sales clerks are angels of the books that keep tally in heaven. That is why they had your information. You offered to pay for the necklace, but was told there were 7 gone. And so what she's identifying here is that those are generations. 7 generations of man. Our families that we pay restitution for. This is how our families come in through grace. So I want to talk about that too, about the 7 generations of man, our families. I want to talk about that. That's another part I want to hit and discuss. The 3 angels are curious. So she's curious about the angels. She said, do they represent the Trinity or the 3 woes coming? She said, I'm not sure, since they're holding people accountable. It really could be both or either. And so the Lord returned to my right side, which represents righteous. And together you were paying for everything, all the souls to come in to the harvest. The deposit represents the first fruits. And only when the first fruits are waived and accepted, the deposit, then the harvest can begin. Don't know the numbers yet, but they are very close. We are becoming like the Lord. Notice what he paid for first: insurance. He was our guarantee, our redemption, retirement, everlasting life. He paid the price first, but is coming to pay the price with us once again. It is the last fulfillment of the feast. And so then she sent me another email, and she said, I forgot to tell you why you were sealed on the shoulder, not the forehead. And so she's identifying that the shoulder speaks of being yoked equally with the Lord. And now when she sent that to me, and then I was going back taking a look at those numbers, I said, well, look at the numbers. 2330 for my husband and 2320 for me. That's almost that's almost equal. That's almost equal. And so when she said here, but we are, the shoulder speaks of being yoked equally with the Lord. And then I saw the numbers. I said, well, that's pretty close. Shouldering his burden of the harvest, and also the shoulder speaks of intimacy. Only those intimate with the Lord will receive this. And so the intimacy part, I thought, well, that might be something I want to go ahead and talk about too. So anyway, so that's just a recap of what the dream was, and the certain things that are in the dream that I definitely want to talk about. So let's talk about when I went back to this dream and I was meditating on the dream. And I hesitate a little bit to talk to you about it because I'm not sure what I did first. There was so many different things that I was just doing and just checking out and researching that I'm not sure exactly what came first. But I can say this. I think the first thing that I did was when I was looking at this and I was saying, okay, she said that this was the seal of God and that he was marking me. I said, well, I wonder if I can find anything about a seal on the shoulder. And so I just Googled seal, shoulder seal, seal on the shoulder, biblical seal, shoulder, just whatever I could find. And I really wasn't coming up with a whole lot. I had something come up, and it was dealing with Melchizedek. And but I really couldn't find exactly. I was looking for the shoulder. I wanted to know what that was all about. And so I went back through and I said, okay, well, there's got to be something with this number 8. I knew the number 8 meant new beginnings. I knew that already, but I didn't know exactly what they were saying. 7 were already gone, and this was the 8th one. And then I recalled, now wait a minute, I think there's a scripture that says that Noah was the 8th of something. And so let me see if I can find that. 8th in line, or let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Well, Noah was a righteous man. That might be, that's not what I was thinking. I was thinking there was something about 8. Did I save it? I had to have. Oh, yes. It's in my email. Let's see where my email is. Right here. Okay. The order of Melchizedek. Okay. The 8th in succession. Not the line, but the order of succession. The number 8. New beginnings. Like in the dream, this necklace that was being put on me was the 8th one. All the other 7 were gone. The 7 before were gone. And she identified this as 8 generations, or 8 generations of man or our families. And so Noah was the 8th generation. Noah was the 8th in line of succession. 10th in line of generation, but not succession for the order. And he was the 8th. So Noah was the 10th he was the 10th generation from Adam. It was Adam, Seth, Enosh, Canaan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah. So that was 10. But Lamech died, and Enoch was taken. He was taken by God. So Noah was the eighth, because those two happened before the flood. So Noah was the eighth. So the new beginnings started with Noah. Noah was a Melchizedek. Noah, the scripture says Noah was a righteous man. And when we're talking about the Melchizedek, we're talking about a king of righteousness. Melech meaning king, and Zedek meaning righteous. And so this tells us that from Noah's line, Noah was a Melchizedek. And so I thought that was real interesting. So let's talk about this. So what is the order of Melchizedek, and what type of priesthood is that, and how is that, and what relation is that to Christ? Well, we heard in the message from 2016, we heard that Jesus was the Melchizedek. So we know that he was the high priest. But what it is in Hebrew, this word Melchizedek literally means the king of righteousness. And Melchizedek, that was the name of the king of righteousness, was also the Prince of Salem, which is translated as the Prince of Peace. And so when we look at these two things, then we see that this is a type and shadow of the Lord Jesus Christ. And we know that Jesus was overseeing his own order. This is his own priesthood, and the Melchizedek priesthood is higher. It's a higher in relation to the Levitical or the Aaronic priesthood. It echoes in the Psalms that Christ is the high priest after the order of the higher priesthood forever. And so basically that's what this particular Melchizedek means. And so now when we hear and understand about the order of Melchizedek, we're really talking about now a position or a title of a position. It is not an actual person anymore, and it is a position. And so there's a lot of really good, interesting videos out there, and articles out there in regards to the Melchizedek and everything that you can learn about it. I've really started digging into it just so that I could understand a little bit more about it. But guys, there is so much. I mean, there's so much revelation. I tell you what, there's a real good one with Jim Staley in the Passions for Truth ministry, where he's got a video where he's talking with another guy, the Torah of the Tribes, and they're talking about all the revelation that they're understanding about the Melchizedek and how everything that was done with Jesus when he came into Jerusalem and being accused by the priests and all of that other stuff. It's so fascinating. I'll link that video. Let me make myself a note. I'll link that video in the comments of this one, because that's probably one of the best ones I've seen so far, to be honest with you. And it gives you a lot of information, a lot. So I would highly recommend you have your pad and your pen ready, because you will want to take a few notes. So anyway, I thought that was real interesting. And so 8 meaning new beginnings. And what did the Lord tell me in that message in April? He said the transfer through the water. The transfer happens through the water. Well, Noah was the Melchizedek. And how did he get the transfer? The flood of the world. The water. He went through the water. Guys, I'm telling you, there is so many nuggets of information in regards to in regards to this. It's just take some time to listen to some of these videos. I'll definitely link that one because that is, to me, that's probably the best one that I have seen so far. Okay, so so that's what kind of caught my eye, and it's dealing with the generations, and it was dealing with the eighth. And so, what is the Lord trying to tell me here? Is he trying to? He's saying, I have the eighth necklace. This was the eighth one. Well, he wasn't saying it. The sales clerks were saying it. And so, but this was the eighth one. And all the other ones were gone. They were already gone. And so I said, well, let me just look up and see what it means. What is the symbolism of a necklace in a dream? I needed to know what that was. And so when I looked it up, this is what it says. It says to dream of a necklace represents a total commitment to a decision, idea, situation, or other person. There is a commitment with both mind and action. And so I said, okay. So the necklace that was being put on me basically says I'm committed. That's it. I'm committed. It's almost like a marriage commitment. You're committed. That that's where you're going to be till death do us part. Here on earth, for the most part. But it's a commitment. So in my dream with my husband, and I'm talking to him, and he's saying, "Do you want this?" And I'm like, no, it's okay. And he's, oh yes, and he wanting to put that on me. Well, the necklace then is representing the commitment that obviously I made with him already, because that's the symbolism of the commitment. And so when he was putting that around my neck, it wasn't when he came behind me to put that to do the clasp or whatever, it wasn't a necklace that he was putting on me. He was leaving an indentation on my shoulder, and I knew it wasn't ink. I knew it wasn't anything but an indentation. So it was some type of seal or mark, or I can only tell you it looked like a pressed indentation, and it was on my shoulder. And so now this, I think, is the other area that some folks are like, well, that's not in the Bible. I don't know that I can believe that. I don't really know what's going on with that. And I said to myself, let me see what I can find out about that. And so remember, I was already Googling seal, what else? Indentation, shoulder, and I didn't know what else. I didn't know what else to do. And so, but after I had found out that the one thing popped up, Melchizedek, and then the eighth we already knew was linking to Noah and the Melchizedek, I just said, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add that one more word, and we're going to Google those words and pull it up. And sure enough, the seal of Melchizedek popped up. I mean, who knew there was even such a thing? I didn't. And so when I pulled it up and I saw what the seal was, I couldn't believe my eyes. I could not believe my eyes. Because guys, the seal is an 8-pointed star. And there's that 8 again. The seal is an 8-pointed star. Okay? Now, there are many different drawings of this particular seal. And I went ahead and printed off what some of them look like. So I just want you to see. It's an 8-pointed star. That's what it looks like. Here's some more. Now, what's this look like? Does that not look like a ship's wheel? or maybe even this one. Look at that one. Oh, I'm sorry, right there. So in my dream, I said there was a charm on the necklace, and it looked like a ship's wheel. I saw this when I was pulling up what the symbolism was for the seal of Melchizedek, and then I saw that one. I said, well, that looks like a ship's wheel. I said, well, maybe that's what it was that was on the necklace. It was a seal of the Melchizedek. So instead of him putting my necklace on, was he sealing me on my shoulder with this? Was he indenting this on my skin, on my shoulder? I don't know. So I said, well, you know, I need to continue looking around. I need to continue looking around. And so I pulled something up about let me see. I pulled something up about the seal of Melchizedek. Actually, I pulled up several different websites, and I tell you what, I'll share all of these links in the comment section so you guys can see exactly what I have seen and where I'm reading to you from, and you can go and dig into this as well. Okay, so the first one that I pulled up, I was looking at some older pictures that were talking about priests, and one of them has a colored picture of a star on their shoulder, of this particular star on their shoulder. And I said, okay, well, I see that, but that doesn't really mean anything. And so I started digging into ancient history about this 8-pointed star. And it has been connected with the Lakshmi, Hindu goddess of wealth and prosperity. So, but I need to stop and just say this. Just about every religion out there, when I started going through looking at this particular seal, just about every religion out there has this particular seal associated with it somehow. And it is associated with it for priests, or for good things, not like bad things. So let me go back in. This particular Hindu goddess, Lakshmi, in the Sanskrit epic, dated back to 400 BC, it shows a particular coin that they had. It was a copper coin from approximately the 6th century, and it is showing a star or sun above the left shoulder of the Lakshmi. Okay, and so this is a particular coin that they have where this star is up over their left shoulder. Okay, this 8-pointed star. Okay, in my dream, I said, he came behind me to put the necklace on, but it was not a necklace. He was indenting something on my skin, my left shoulder. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. I have no idea. And then when I ran across this stuff and I'm seeing stuff about the left shoulder, I'm like, okay, all right. So that's two things that I've already found out about that links back to this 8-pointed star and the left shoulder. So I didn't stop there. I'm like, Lord, if you got to help me understand so that I can explain this and bring it to everybody and we can talk about it, because this isn't something that anybody can rely on through the Bible. It's not in there, and if it is, it's hidden and I've not been able to find it. And so what else do we have? And so he gave me I continued looking, and I came across this, and it says an outstanding feature of the decoration on a number of large cloths in the museum is a characteristic border composed of 4 ornamental right angles. This ornamentation would be very suitable for floor coverings, and it is easy to show that it was applied to curtains and hangings, etc. But that it was also used on cloaks, and it was found on certain mummy cases where it was seen where? On the shoulder. And what is it? This right here is what they're talking about. And right in the center, is the seal of Melchizedek. So guys, I don't really know what the connection is about this particular seal and the left shoulder. I don't know what it is, but I've tripped across enough linking it to the shoulder to say there's something with this. Okay. I really don't know why. I've not been able to find, I'm going to tell you, I've not been able to find anything that pinpoints it to say you're being marked. Like when the Bible says, don't hurt anything until I seal my servants. Okay, in their foreheads. Don't do anything until I can seal my servants. Okay, well, that's great, but this isn't in my forehead. This was in my shoulder, and it was in my left shoulder. So I think I've tripped across enough, and I'll continue looking to see if I can find anything. And you guys can take a look at it too, because guys, there's more than one person that's going into this priesthood. And so this information that's coming forth is going to be very important. It's going to help somebody somewhere down the line. And so this, was he marking me? Yes, I believe he was. Was it the seal of the Melchizedek that was on the necklace? Yes, I believe it was. And was he sealing me with that? Yes, I believe he was. Okay, now I'm saying all of that now already knowing about the message that I found back in 2016, but I didn't know that when I was looking all of this stuff up. And so I just wanted to go through and say, Lord, help me find something. Well, he did. He gave me the message. He gave me the message that he gave me last year that I had forgotten all about. Now, I found something else too that I want to read to you. This is called, when I was looking up the seal, this is what I tripped across. The word mudra, M-U-D-R-A, okay? The word mudra itself means seal, or the imprint left by a seal. According to one scholar, a mudra is thus a sign of a pact, of a most solemn contract, for it is the one that binds the worshiper to the world of divinity and integrates him into that world. Okay, let's read that one more time. It is a sign of a pact, like a pinky swear, like a commitment, because we understood that's what the necklace meant. It was a commitment. So this is a pact, for it is the one that binds the worshiper to the world of the divinity and integrates him into that world. Mudra, a mudra, okay, is the ritualized body language both of offering and of surrender. A mudra, then, is both our declaration of intent, and get this, and our passport to the world of the spirit. As one ancient text proclaims, possessing a seal, a man enters into a country in peace. But if he does not possess a seal, he may not enter. So guys, when I tripped across that, I said, okay, so that ties it into being able to, being marked, being given a passport. Remember, we talked about passports. How long ago did we talk about passports? When we were talking about bondservants and the hole in the ear. You guys remember that? And so this seal is a passport. It's a pact. It's a commitment. It's saying, this is what I'm going to do. There is no turning back now, type of thing. You understand? And so when you get to this point, then what opens up to you? The spiritual side. According to that. Guys, I'm telling you, I was fascinated when I found that today. I was like, what? You know, I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And so I just needed to share that with you. But let's talk about this star. It's the 8-pointed star. It's 8. And we know that 8 means new beginnings. But there is some information here that I was, let's see, looking at. The number 8 is a very developed symbol in ancient and modern Christianity. It is traditionally associated with the concepts of resurrection, new beginnings, rebirth, renewal, and baptism. And so, you know, I was looking at that and I thought, man, that is resurrection, new beginnings, rebirth, renewal, and baptism. Let's see what else. Christ rose from the dead on the first day of the week. That was of necessity the 8th day. Additionally, for all those born in the covenant, baptism is to be performed at the age of 8. The octagon draws on the symbolism of the number 8, meaning renewal. And then the star. So if we look at what because it's a star, it's an 8-pointed star. It says anciently stars were common symbols for angels. Now we said that the other day. I mean, we were talking about that because I said, remember when I was getting up in the middle of the night writing all those things down, and I said, I don't know what made me write this down. I don't know if it was me or somebody else, and it was stars equals angels. Well, when I read this today,